They told you to trust your senses, to believe what you see, hear, and remember. But what if everything you've ever known, your past, your thoughts, even your identity, isn't real? Not metaphorically, but literally. Scientists now admit it. Your brain fabricates reality. What you call life is mostly guesses, stitched together by a mind that doesn't even let you see the full picture. Sounds insane, right? But here's the twist. Deep down, you've always felt it, that something doesn't add up. The strange timing of events, the patterns you can't unsee, the moments that feel off. It's not just intuition, it's your awareness waking up. This video isn't about philosophy, it's about proof. We'll walk through experiments that shatter your sense of free will, studies that expose your memories as fiction, and the eerie truth that your entire perception is filtered by a mind you never chose. But this isn't bad news, it's freedom. Because once you see the illusion, you're no longer trapped in it. So if you've ever asked, is this all there is? You're about to find out what's been hidden, right in front of your eyes. 1. The brain's trick. You never see the world, only your mind's guess. Most people walk around thinking they see the world as it is, but the truth, they're just seeing what their brain predicts the world to be. That's right. Your perception isn't some perfect lens. It's more like a movie trailer cut together by your brain to keep you moving, functioning, surviving. Neuroscience, especially the work of Anil Seth, shows this clearly. The brain isn't passively receiving information, it's constantly guessing. Reality then becomes a controlled hallucination, one we call normal. Imagine you're looking at a red apple. Seems simple, right? But what you're actually seeing is light bouncing off the surface, turned into electrical signals, then translated into apple by your brain. You're not seeing the apple, you're seeing your brain's interpretation of apple. And that interpretation is shaped by memory, emotion, and expectation. That's why a child, an artist, and a hungry man all perceive the same apple differently. Same object, different perception. That's the illusion. So here's the wild part. If your brain is just making educated guesses, then how much of what you experience is even real? Think of a time when you were scared of something in the dark, only to turn on the light and laugh. The object didn't change. Your perception did. The mind created a version of reality based on fear, not truth. That's what it does all day long. It shows you what it thinks will keep you safe, not what's actually there. Now think deeper. If the world you see is mostly a guess, what happens when that guess is wrong? What else is your mind filling in without your permission? And more importantly, what parts of reality are you not seeing at all? 2. Memory is a lie. Your past is being rewritten every time you remember it. You probably think your memories are solid, faithful recordings of your life stored away like files on a hard drive, but science says otherwise. Each time you recall a moment, your brain isn't playing a video. It's rewriting the story based on your current mood, beliefs, and context. What you remember is often just your mind's best guess, shaped by emotional undertones and subtle biases. It's less like replaying footage, more like telling a tale that changes every time you speak it. That's the strange illusion at the heart of memory. It feels true, even when it's not. Take the famous Lost in the Mall study. Participants were convinced they had gotten lost as children, even though it never happened. Within days, they began remembering the event, what they were wearing, how scared they felt, even the smell of popcorn in the air. Their perception had filled in details so vividly, it became indistinguishable from real experience. If your brain can fabricate entire memories and tag them as real, what does that say about your identity? If memory shapes who you are and memory is unstable, then who exactly is this you keep referring to? Try a simple exercise. Write down a childhood memory, then ask someone who was there to do the same. You'll likely find inconsistencies, timelines that don't match, emotions that clash. It's not because one of you is lying, it's because your minds filtered reality through different lenses. Awareness of this helps you stop clinging so tightly to your past. Instead of defending a version of yourself based on shaky recollections, you can start asking deeper questions. What am I without my story? What remains if I don't depend on memory to define me? The real twist? You're doing this right now. Even reading this, your mind is encoding a new memory, one shaped by your current mood, expectations, and beliefs. The story you'll remember later won't be this text exactly as it is. It will be your edited version of it. That's the illusion. Your brain sells you a feeling of certainty to keep things coherent. But if your past is a patchwork of imagined fragments, then maybe it's time to stop looking behind and start wondering what your mind might be distorting in this very moment. 3. You think you choose, but neuroscience says you don't. Most people walk through life convinced they're steering the wheel, that they're choosing their coffee, their partners, even their thoughts. But here's the part that flips the table. Science has shown that your brain decides before you do. Benjamin Libet's experiments revealed that the body starts preparing for a decision milliseconds before the person becomes aware of making it. So when you think, I just decided to turn left, the reality is, the turn was already happening. You're not choosing, you're narrating. And that narration is just the mind's way of keeping the illusion alive. Let's put it in real terms. You reach for tea instead of coffee. Feels like free will, right? But maybe your blood sugar nudged that choice. Or a memory from last week. Or a commercial you barely noticed. These unconscious forces flood your system and craft the urge before you appear to act. What we call identity is really a story stitched together after the fact, an echo. And the awareness watching this echo, it was there before the decision and it will be there after. But the illusion of control keeps the ego comfortable. Try this. Sit down and watch your thoughts for 2 minutes. Don't try to stop them. Just observe. Notice how they come and go on their own. You don't pick them. You don't even know where they're coming from. That thought about lunch, your ex, or some random song lyric, it just popped in. If you were really in charge, wouldn't you be able to predict your next thought? Wouldn't you be able to stop the ones you don't want? But you can't. That's because the mind is automatic, and the you who thinks it's in control is just a passenger. Now imagine what it means to live like this. Not in fear, but in freedom. If you're not the one pushing the buttons, you can stop blaming yourself for every move. You can stop carrying the weight of every decision. Instead of trying to control the current, you can learn to watch it. And when you're watching with awareness, something deeper starts to surface, something more quiet than thought, more intelligent than logic. But before you assume that means surrendering, consider what else your mind might be doing without your permission. 4. The self is a thought, and thoughts think themselves. Most people grow up believing there's a solid me inside, a core identity, a self that stays consistent across time. But dig just a little, and that foundation starts to wobble. You didn't choose your name, your accent, your beliefs, or the emotional patterns that guide your life. They were given, installed, absorbed. The illusion here is that all of this adds up to a person. But what if this identity isn't something you are, but something you've learned to be? And what if it's not even consistent, but shifts depending on who you're with, how you feel, or what just happened? Think of how you act at work, then compare that to how you are with your closest friend. 2 different versions of you, right? Now throw in who you become when you're angry, or when you're afraid, or when no one's watching. Which of those is the real you? The uncomfortable answer? None of them. They're all costumes stitched together by thought, habit, and memory. Identity is a script, and you've been reading it so long, you forgot it's not your handwriting. But the awareness watching it all, that hasn't changed since you were 5 years old, staring at clouds. Here's a thought experiment. Imagine being born in a completely different country. New language, new religion, new social rules. Would you still be you, or would you become whatever that environment shaped you into? Identity isn't solid, it's situational. And yet, most people defend it like it's sacred. I'm just not that kind of person. This is who I am. But that's just thought pretending to be truth. Once you see that, you stop clinging so hard. You stop trying to fit into your own idea of yourself. And that opens the door to something much bigger. If identity is just thought, and thoughts think themselves, then who's the one noticing all this? Who's watching the parade of personalities come and go? Who was there before the labels, and who remains after they fall away? The deeper you go into this, the more you realize you've never been the thinker. You've been the awareness behind it all, quiet, unmoving, just watching. And that changes everything. But what happens when you stop identifying with the thought and start living from the silence underneath it? 5. Your reality is filtered, and you didn't even choose the filter. You think you're seeing reality. Not quite. You're seeing a version of reality that your mind lets through the gates. It's like your brain is a nightclub bouncer deciding what's allowed in based on old beliefs, fears, and unconscious preferences. And you don't even know it's happening. That's the crazy part. You're not hiding from truth. Your mind is hiding truth from you. It filters perception to protect the fragile illusion of identity. That's not evil. It's just lazy efficiency. But awareness sees the whole street, not just the VIP section. Ever seen that video where people count basketball passes and miss the gorilla walking across the screen? That's called inattentional blindness. Your eyes saw the gorilla. Your brain erased it because it wasn't important. Now multiply that by every single moment of your day. Conversations you misread, opportunities you didn't notice, even pain you never fully processed. If perception is filtered, then your version of reality is more story than fact. It's the illusion of clarity, wrapped in the comfort of consistency. You can catch this in real time. Try walking into a familiar room and scanning for 5 things you've never noticed. A scratch on the table, a reflection in a window, that tiny sound the fridge makes. Suddenly, your environment feels different, like waking up inside a scene you thought you knew. This simple awareness practice is powerful. It shows how much perception is shaped by attention, and it cracks open the idea that what you see is all there is. Reality isn't a fixed stage. It's a shifting script written by focus and belief. So what happens when the filter starts breaking? When the things your mind used to ignore start surfacing? You see the world and yourself differently. That same argument, that same job, that same feeling, they don't hit the same. Because now you're not reacting to filtered fiction. You're observing the raw feed. And in that rawness, you might find something terrifyingly beautiful, that the world was never what you thought it was, and neither were you. But then again, if your mind isn't showing you the whole truth, where else has it been hiding the light? 6. The world is not outside you. It's arising in you. Here's the illusion most people never question, that they're in the world, walking around, bumping into things. But what if the opposite is true? What if the world is in you? Not you the person, not you the body, but you as awareness. Every sight, sound, smell, every emotion, every thought, all of it shows up inside your perception. You've never experienced anything outside awareness, not once. The moment you start seeing this, the illusion of separation between you and life, subject and object, begins to fall apart. Think of a dream. While you sleep, an entire world unfolds. Streets, people, even a sense of time passing, but none of it is out there. It's all appearing within your consciousness. Now consider this. What if waking life isn't all that different? The colors you see, the sounds you hear, they're all processed and interpreted in your mind. You're not experiencing a world, you're experiencing your version of the world, crafted by your nervous system and your past. That's perception, and it's wrapped in illusion. Want to feel this more directly? Sit still for a moment and notice everything in your awareness. The screen, the sounds around you, the feeling of your body. Now close your eyes. Where did the world go? Did it disappear, or did it just shift within you? That's the clue. Your experience arises in consciousness. The problem is, we've been conditioned to place awareness inside the body, like it's trapped behind the eyes. But that's backwards. The body is in awareness, not the other way around. So if the world arises in you, and not the other way around, then what does that make you? Not a separate person lost in a chaotic world, not a body dodging random events, but the very presence in which everything happens. The sky doesn't chase the clouds, it holds them, just like awareness holds every experience you've ever had. But if you are the space in which the world appears, then what happens when that space is no longer identified with the story of me? What does life look like then? 7. What if this is all a dream, and waking up means losing everything? Ever wake up from a dream and feel disoriented? For a few seconds, everything seemed real. The people, the drama, even your emotions. Then, just like that, it vanished. Now here's the question that messes with the mind. What if your waking life is just another layer of that dream? It feels stable only because you haven't woken up from this one yet. That's not just poetic. It's a possibility backed by both spiritual wisdom and modern science. Your perception stitches a world together, but maybe it's all happening in a bubble of awareness, not on solid ground. Look around. Every object, every sound, every thought, they feel familiar. But so did the dream you had last night, until you opened your eyes. The difference is only in duration. A nighttime dream lasts minutes. This waking dream lasts decades. But the mechanics, strikingly similar. Thoughts build worlds. Emotions add meaning. Identity gives you a character, and when you're inside it, it feels real. That's the power and danger of the illusion. You mistake the temporary for the eternal. Here's something practical. Think of a time when your reality changed suddenly. A breakup, a loss, an insight, a psychedelic trip. In a flash, the world looked different, but did the world really change, or did your awareness shift? That's what it means to wake up in the dream of life. It's not about escaping, it's about seeing. The walls you thought were real become transparent. The problems that felt permanent start to flicker. You don't fix the dream, you realize it's a dream, and that realization frees you. But here's the kicker. Waking up from the dream doesn't mean floating off into bliss. It means losing everything you believed was you. The stories, the roles, the chase. That's why most resist it. It's not the dream they fear losing, it's the identity inside it. But if you're brave enough to let that go, something extraordinary happens. You don't disappear, you dissolve into presence, into stillness, into life itself. And maybe, just maybe, the dreamer has been watching the whole time, waiting for you to remember.